What is a situation in your life that has shifted your perspective on how you view your own life?
Started competing when I was 9 years old probably. I went to this one gym. I got there. I was probably the worst on the whole team. I was so bad, but I just love the sport so much, and that's all I wanted to do was go in the gym, just flip around, have fun. By the next couple of years, I started to get pretty good. I had this one coach who told me, oh, you're never gonna make it past level 8. You should just do Excel, you should just do high school gymnastics. You're never gonna make it to college gymnastics, which was my end goal. And so that really just flipped a switch inside of me, and I just started working my butt off. Stress fractures in my shins, and that was my level 6 season. At that point, I was doing really good. I was winning first place at most of the meets, and I was devastated. And the same coach who told me I would never be good told me, oh, you're fine. I competed with stress fractures when I was younger. You're fine to compete. If you know anything about USA Gymnastics, you know that it's very abusive, in a very abusive environment. Larry Nassar sexually abused thousands of girls. Physical abuse that happens. I was told by another coach when I had my stress fractures, he said, oh, maybe you're just not cut out for gymnastics. We were given severe punishments when we weren't trying hard enough, or if we balked on something, we didn't go for a skill. We had to do an excessive amount of rope climbs. We got yelled at, screamed at, kicked out of the gym. We weren't allowed to talk to each other, or we got in trouble. It was just a very toxic environment. I never lost a love for the sport, but I hated going to gymnastics. I'd come home crying every single day. I decided that I needed to make a change, and I switched gyms, which was probably the best decision of my life, but it was a really hard decision. Once I got to my new gym, I just started improving so much. I was so much happier. I met a ton of new people. I got really close with the coaches. They were so supportive of my dreams of trying to do college gymnastics. They pushed me every single day. I started to get better, but I also started to get hurt. Every single season since my freshman year, I got hurt. I had surgery my freshman year on my arm. That took me out pretty much the entire season. I ended up being able to compete one meet that season to qualify out of level 7. My sophomore year, I sprained both of my ankles at the same time at one of my meets, which made it pretty much impossible for me to compete all the events for the rest of the season. That's when I started dealing with shoulder pain, and I found out later that both of my labrums were torn. So I had to deal with that. I cracked my head open, I broke my foot, I got a concussion. Just random points of the season, I just couldn't compete. I was just always hurt. Senior year, I was able to compete level 9, and I've always been better at floor and vault. I started doing double pikes on floor, which is when you do double backflips. I started twisting my vaults, trying to get it so I could compete in college. So I started emailing college coaches, and they started emailing back. Even though I wasn't always the best, I never doubted that I wouldn't do college gymnastics. I always had this drive ever since my coach told me back in level 6 that I would never make it past level 8. 4 days before my state meet, I was doing a double pike on floor, and I tore my Achilles. And a day before I tore my Achilles, the coach at Ithaca College offered me a spot on the team. So that was the most devastating moment of my life. I thought to myself, I'd gotten so far. A coach has told me that I could be on the team. I hadn't accepted it yet. He's not going to want me anymore. My dreams of doing college gymnastics is over. also the most painful thing I've ever experienced. So I was just laying there on the ground, like holding onto the floor, hysterically crying. My coaches were all rushing over me. I remember my coach asked me as we were sitting there for waiting for my dad to come. She was just like, "What are you thinking right now?" And I was like, that I'm not going to be able to do college gymnastics. Like, my dream is gone. I didn't even think about state. Like, I didn't even care that I couldn't compete in my last state. I just, like, everything inside of me, my heart just broke. It was worse than, like, any heartbreak I've ever had or anything like that. Like, I was just devastated. I went to the emergency room. They didn't even know what was wrong yet. My orthopedic, he said that I tore my Achilles, I tore everything around, and that I would need surgery. I ended up getting surgery, and the coach at Ithaca told me that he still wanted me, even though I needed to get surgery and this was going to be a very long comeback. So my dream came back of being able to do college gymnastics. That was probably the best day of my life when he told me that he still wanted me. Here I am now, a collegiate athlete at Ithaca College. I proved all of my abusive coaches wrong.
How has that situation really affected how you perceive gymnastics as a whole now, and how it's really affected your life to this day?
So it's made me realize that I get to do gymnastics, and every single time I'm in the gym and flipping around, like, I get to do that. I am able to walk. Just being able to walk is like an incredible feeling, because when I was on the couch for like a month unable to put my toe down on the floor, like, it just makes you realize how fortunate you are to be able to do even the simplest of things. So it brought me so much more love to the sport, like more than I already had. Like, I'm so grateful that I can be able to do this, and it's also made me realize that there's more out there than just gymnastics. Like, my life isn't just gymnastics. Like,
You could tell your younger gymnasts advice, what would that advice be?
I would tell myself to just have fun, and that it's really not that serious. You're gonna go through a lot, but the only thing that matters is that you're having fun. Like, no one else's opinion matters. Just keep working hard and doing what you're doing, and you're gonna be okay.